Hi and welcome to Whisky Shared. You're watching my review of the Bimber London Whisky Club Edition. I'm Toby and you're watching Whisky Shared. Today I'm reviewing a limited edition bottling from the Bimber Distillery. It's, if you're not familiar with Bimber, it's London single malt whisky distillery. And this particular bottling is exclusive to the London Whisky Club. It's one of only 50 bottles. It's American white virgin oak. And I have bottle number 44. The graphics on it were done by one of our club members. You'll see it there. Looks pretty neat, and it's just over 3 years old. This whiskey. It was one of a number of samples, cask samples that were tasted by certain members of the club, and they picked on cask number 33. This is bottled at 59.2%, and it was bottled on the 2nd of December 2019. I bet you're wondering what it tastes like. Should we find out? On to the whiskey. Right, so I poured it in my Bimber nosing glass. It's quite a dark colour. It's all natural, it's non-chill filtered. Let's have a look at that. You can see it is very dark. All of that is obviously influenced from the American white oak casks. I'd say that's a tawny colour, sort of tawny port. It's really quite dark. But let's see what it's like on the nose. So I get strong apples, really strong apples. It's very sweet, sugary. Those sweet sugars, it reminds me of a bourbon. But in the background, there's that usual fruity Bimber smell, which is reminiscent of their new make. I get cinnamon and those sort of baking spices, and yeah, it almost like turns into like apple strudel. That sort of combination of the apples and the cinnamon, almost like, I'd say it's more like, yeah, more like apple strudel than it is something like a sort of spiced apple pie. It's definitely more fruity. And I even get like a hint of cognac, that sort of the fruitiness you get from a decent cognac. Let's go on to the palate. It's really quite unique. I don't think I've had a whiskey so far that's like this one. What happens when you put it in your mouth is all of a sudden the liquid thickens, it becomes very viscous. The mouthfeel is incredible, and as it becomes viscous, even without moving it in your mouth, as you hold it on your tongue, it almost feels like it's thickening instantly. And with that, the liquid warms up. I'm sure it's not the liquid warming up, it's my tongue reacting to it, but it feels like the liquid has suddenly started to go hot, but it doesn't attack your tongue with that heat. So yeah, it's not very prickly, but the heat you get is quite incredible. What you get next is you get the sweetness, you get those sugars, you get that sort of cinnamon taste. But what's surprising at 59.2% is when I hold it in my mouth and then swallow it, what you normally get with a lot of high ABV or high proof whiskies is, as the evaporation happens, not only does it feel like it needs water, you get that sort of attacking prickliness. With this, it doesn't feel like it needs water. It doesn't attack the taste buds. It's really quite pleasant. And the finish straight after, it doesn't linger too long. It's not one that sits on the taste buds like really prickly whiskey would from a high ABV, or maybe even a decent peated whiskey, which would just sit there for some time with that high ABV. But it doesn't. I'd say it's a medium finish, and it really just dissipates smoothly, but not too quickly, and it's not too drying on the finish. There is a little bit of woodiness, but it's not too dry on the finish. Let's go for another sip. Really is unusual. It's quite special, the fact that you're getting a completely different experience drinking this whiskey than one I've had with any other of the many hundreds of whiskies I've tried so far. That fruity character, that sort of sour fruits that I normally get with Bimber and their new make, it's still there, but it's subtle. It's just sitting in the background. So it's almost like that DNA carried through, but it isn't pushing through to the top. What you get with this is you get those sort of brown sugars and that sweetness and the cinnamon and the apples. Reminds me of a bourbon still, but not quite. It's not close enough. You could say there's similarities, but you wouldn't say it's a bourbon. I don't think you confuse this with a bourbon. But it really is an impressive dram. It was obviously a unique opportunity to buy this, being a member of the London Whisky Club. I'll put a link down to them in the description if you want to check them out. But all of them were sold out, and it really is great to be a part of history for not only Bimber, is their first cask bottling for a particular occasion outside of their own projects, and it's also the London Whisky Club's first independent bottling from a cask. So I'm hoping it'll be the first of many, especially with Bimber, because their whiskey is pretty impressive. So I'll raise a glass and stauncher. Here's the next one. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.